Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The news never stops and neither does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the latest on Ronda Rousey vs. Becky Lynch Part 2, more talk on backstage bickering between AEW's vice presidents, Mark Henry's powerful plea to Hulk Hogan, and more. Becky Lynch vs. Ronda Rousey talk continues. Becky Lynch vs. Ronda Rousey, a fan-made dream come true, that is, until the WWE decided to make it a triple threat match at WrestleMania 35 thanks to the addition of Charlotte Flair. And while that year's Mania main event was impressive, fans have been clamoring for the man to take on Rowdy Ronda one-on-one. Regrettably, that's a match that's been talked about but repeatedly delayed. With Rousey recently announcing she's pregnant, fans know the match isn't happening in the near future. Nonetheless, the WWE is confident it will take place, but when? According to Wrestling News' Paul Davis, "We haven't heard news on what the plans are for her when she returns, but we do know that WWE officials still hope to have her face Ronda Rousey in a singles match. WrestleMania 38 in Dallas has been discussed, but others in the company feel that it would be better to hold that match off until WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, since that's Rousey's hometown, and having LA host the show would guarantee more mainstream publicity. A Lynch vs. Rousey match certainly qualifies as a dream match, but it's proven a nightmare to book. For now though, Lynch seems ready to return to the ring, as Davis mentioned a recent Instagram photo showing Lynch working out and looking shredded. With Lynch vs. Rousey a long way off, WWE should avoid falling into the pitfall of putting Lynch into a holding pattern when she returns, waiting for Rousey to return. There are no guarantees that Rousey will return, and while a rematch would be fantastic, the WWE should stop focusing its women's division on one particular match. The WWE did something similar last year when it booked both the Raw and SmackDown women's division around the building breakup between Sasha Banks and Bayley. The women's division will never take off as long as the WWE continues focusing on one or two main players. When do you think Lynch will be back in the ring, and who will she challenge first? Let us know in the comments below. Is Keith Lee Vince McMahon's latest victim? Where's Keith Lee, and is he on Mr. McMahon's hit list? The WWE Universe has been asking those questions ever since the Limitless One disappeared from the triple threat match for the United States Championship at this year's Elimination Chamber and hasn't been seen on WWE TV since. While Lee has said that he will return at some point, he hasn't gone into details as to why he's off the air. There haven't been any rumors or news stories of any injuries, so fans and wrestling pundits are beginning to fear the worst, that Mr. Lee ran afoul of Mr. McMahon. During a recent audio update, PW Insider's Mike Johnson commented, "I've never been able to get a full answer on what happened to him. I've been led to believe it's more of a creative thing than an injury thing, and they just, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I don't know what the full story is, whether he just fell afoul of Vince McMahon somehow, or there's something going on that they're keeping close to the vest, which is always possible. I can't get a clear read on it, and whoever is close to him, who knows the deal, they're not talking." Lee is an incredible athlete with a special look and charisma that screams main eventer. Despite this, he's languished on Raw after an initial powerful push, including wins over Randy Orton, and at one point was reportedly sent to the Performance Center along with other large and in-charge superstars for extra work on their in-ring skills. The WWE could use some fresh faces on Raw and SmackDown, and letting Lee sit on the sidelines seems foolish. Nonetheless, it's entirely possible that Lee is being sidelined for a personal matter. Given the tight-lipped nature of WWE superstars, it's often difficult to get an accurate account of what's going on behind the scenes. Wrestlelamia will continue following this story and keep you updated on Lee's situation. There's also been talk amongst fans and pundits alike that Lee might return as soon as WrestleMania Backlash, interfering in the triple threat for the WWE Championship and costing Drew McIntyre the win. Would this mean Lee would join Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business? It'd be a major push for Lee, but for now, it's as speculative as our next story. Speaking of WrestleMania Backlash, be sure to check back later for our recap and analysis of the show as we look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. More talk on backstage bickering at AEW. Is there heat between Cody Rhodes and All Elite Wrestling's other executive vice presidents, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks? As noted in an earlier news video, rumors have been circulating that Cody isn't on good terms with the other 3 executives, and while the story hasn't been confirmed by anyone, it's been picking up momentum. Wrestlelamia is skeptical about the rumors, and apparently so is the Wrestling Observer's Diamond Dave Meltzer, who commented on the site's message board that, "Anyway, nobody is talking to each other. It's impossible in wrestling to get everyone to agree on everything, especially when they are passionate about it. The Young Bucks and Omega are legit close personal friends. Cody is more of a business relationship with the other 3, but it's not an adversarial one in the least, and all have the same end goals, which is to build a company that sustains and grows. They have different philosophies, but everyone in wrestling does based on when you grew up, where you grew up, and your life experiences." One of the most interesting aspects of this story is how some very wild yet vague rumors turned into a major news story. Is it the fact that fans like to hear about backstage drama, or perhaps someone looking to make AEW look bad? As reported earlier, one of the parties who brought up the wild rumor of unrest between the 4 EVPs is a known critic of AEW. While AEW's vice presidents have certain job descriptions, such as Kenny Omega working closely with the company's video game division, just what all 4 men do is ambiguous. As Wrestlelamia pointed out earlier, Tony Khan is the company's president and is hopefully maintaining order. According to Meltzer, "But Tony runs the show, and ultimately it's the Tony philosophy. All want a diversified approach, and you can argue whether that's good or bad, but that is what they all seem to agree on." Former United States Vice President John Adams once described the vice presidency as the most insignificant office that ever the invention of man contrived or his imagination conceived. If Tony Khan is wise, he'll ensure that AEW's vice president's powers are equally limited so he can focus on running his father's wrestling promotion. The last thing AEW or its fans need is a situation of the inmates running the asylum, much like WCW in its last years. While AEW has been seen as thriving due to the active influence of its wrestlers in their storylines, it needs to achieve a balance of the product being watered down by a committee, much as Vince McMahon's authoritarian approach to the WWE's creative side has weakened the product. WWE shuts down Superstars Talent Agency. It looks like the WWE Superstar Talent Agency is deader than Ricochet's career. The agency, which you'll no doubt recall was part of the WWE scheme that is planned to monetize its superstars' appearances on third-party platforms such as YouTube and Cameo. The WWE claimed its talent agency would deliver best-in-class 360-degree support of talent across all internal lines of business and key external partners, amplifying talent brand value and maximizing monetization opportunities for talent and WWE. Turns out the talent agency lasted about as long as Raw Underground, with PW Insider's Mike Johnson reporting the agency was shut down a few weeks back and only lasted 4 to 5 weeks. What's intriguing about this shutdown is whether the WWE realized it could face challenges from superstars who were previously working with third-party platforms and suddenly told to turn them over to the WWE. Also, it's possible the WWE made ridiculous demands of third-party sites such as Cameo, chilling any potential business relationship. Why would the WWE set up a separate division and scrap it after several weeks? With any luck, we'll get more details on just what happened. Mark Henry's heartfelt message to Hulk Hogan. Last but not least, WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry is one of several African-American WWE superstars who commented on the situation when Hulk Hogan's racist remarks from a bootleg sex tape surfaced in 2015. The Hulkster has apologized repeatedly for his remarks and also apologized to the entire WWE locker room at a WWE pay-per-view. Nonetheless, not everyone has forgiven the Hulkster. During an appearance on Busted Open Radio, the world's strongest man discussed what needs to be done. "I'll stand right there next to him, and as long as he owns it and is truly sorry for what he has done, it's not going to go away. It don't matter how long you wait. I just pray that before he meets the Maker, that he's able to repent for that and get everybody to say, you know what, man, Hulk Hogan had a hard time. He made mistakes, but man, he fixed it. We all have to be forgiven at some point, but to be forgiven, you have to be remorseful and feel pain for what you did." Some WWE superstars have expressed skepticism over the sincerity of Hogan's apologies. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know in wrestling. What do you think of these stories and rumors? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.